Oh my gosh. Well, hello there, everybody. If you notice, I have a guest today. I'm very excited. I am Natalie Diaz of Twiniversity, and today we are going to be talking about feeding your infant twinnies. We could talk about breastfeeding, we could talk about bottle feeding, we could talk about a little solids, we could talk about literally nothing will be off the table. This is just for you. So if you are in the eye of the feeding storm, good news, because we have Janelle with us today that is going to walk us through so much fun stuff. So guys, I don't know if she's here or here in your Brady Bunch window, but guys, that's Janelle. She is a happy mama mentor, and she holds a master's degree in nutrition communication. I love that, from Tufts University, like a real school. Not that I'm saying my online college wasn't a real school, but I aspire to have an online college degree someday and want to go for my master's, but that's another topic, Janelle. We'll save that for another day. And she was actually the recipient of the 2010 Massachusetts Young Dietitian of the Year Award. Janelle!
I thank you. That was pre-twins.
Of course it was. But listen, I can't wait to see if that's pre-twins. And now your twinsy here. I can't wait to see what you do next. So Janelle's worked as a brand ambassador, a speaker, a writer, a counselor, a blogger, and consultant. And she's also served as a college dietitian where she provided counseling and developed campus-wide nutritional programming. Look at Janelle, literally doing everything for everyone. I can't believe that. She makes healthy eating simple, sustainable, and delicious by providing understandable nutritional information. And my favorite part about Janelle, she's one of us, guys. She's a twin mom. Janelle, welcome to
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love when we could almost like double dip, is what I call it. So for us, I love good feeding information, but in addition to just good nutritional information, I love that you're seeing it through our eyes.
Yes.
So it makes things a lot better for everyone involved. So Janelle is a happy mama mentor, like I said, which means that, Janelle, tell us exactly what that means, because I want to know, should I just say it from my point of view?
Sure, and then I can feed in, yeah.
Okay, so Happy Mama Mentors are a group of wonderful folks from, is it just in the United States or all around the globe?
We're just in the United States, the coaches, the mentors.
Okay. So just in the United States. I'm sorry, international crowd. I'll see what I could do. I'll make some calls after this live.
We do get international moms chatting with us.
Okay, good. So
if we're based in the US.
If we go to the Happy Family website, which Happy Family and Twiniversity have been such good friends. Janelle, I don't know if you know this, but Happy Family was one of the first, I guess, connections into the baby universe that I have ever made with anybody. So pre-Twiniversity, I have actually been working with Happy Family when I was just with the Manhattan Twins Club.
Wow.
I remember Happy Family when they were just Happy Baby and they were a tiny little baby company. And now look at us grown. In addition to growing their entire product line, they have also grown their community support aspect, which to me is a pillar of what Happy Family is about. Because while they are creating wonderfully nutritious foods for your family, they are also thinking about your family as a whole by providing support. And so the support comes through not only their blog, which they have a great blog with fantastic recipes and all that good stuff on there, but they also have this Happy Mama Mentor program where you get to log on and you get to ask live questions and interact with somebody who could provide nutritional support for you and your family. So it's not just your children. Well, of course, Happy Family wants to help feed your children. They also have products for the lactating mamas. So they make lactation bars and they make a ton of stuff. And we'll definitely talk more about the products later. But tell us how you got involved being a Happy Mama mentor.
Yeah, so I just echo everything that you've already said. So we, the mentors are a group of dietitians and lactation consultants. So we're all dietitians and lactation consultants. And in a nutshell, we're providing free online support in the form of an online chat to new and pregnant moms. And we say we target the first 1,000 days. So the first 1,000 days is conception to about 2 years old. So we're really focusing on moms when they're in the weeds, when they're pregnant, when they're first nursing, when they're starting solids, when they have a picky eater. So we've got you covered during those first 1,000 days. And we are providing help at your fingertips for free. There is no catch, 7 days a week. We're online, and we're all moms. So it's a really rewarding experience to be able to help moms, especially the ones who are just in those really tough situations and might not have resources in a mom's group or a lactation consultant that they visit. So we're so happy to be able to provide that.
Now, Janelle, when you call in or text in, how do you decide where they go? Like if I had questions about lactation, do I just get fielded to a lactation consultant? How does it get deciphered through you guys?
Yeah, great question. So there's typically 1 to 3 mentors, chatting at a time, but we're all equipped to answer all the questions. So we're all dietitians and we're all lactation consultants. So we both, we hold both of those credentials. So we're all equipped to answer any feeding and lactation support questions. There are some times that, questions are better suited for a mom's healthcare provider or an in-person lactation consultant. So we understand that we are a chat service. We're not working in your living room. So we have some limitations, but we answer the questions as they come and we're all able to answer them.
Now, we have already gotten a lot of questions from our community. I'm just going to move this. I don't like how I can't see the full you because you're so freaking huge, Janelle, that I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But we have gotten a lot of questions from our audience, which is very, very exciting. So I kind of, if it's okay, I want to jump right in because I know that somebody is already watching this for a few minutes and they're like, get to it. So one of the questions that comes up really often at Twiniversity is if a mom is stressed out over breastfeeding and calls you for help, as a happy mama mentor, how do you coach her through the situation that she's in? And of course, now put on your twin mom goggles here because that's who we think is going to be calling you because how else will we are.
Yeah. I should point out that all of our mentors are equipped to answer any question, whether you have a singleton, twins, triplets. But sometimes they'll even say, Janelle will be on this afternoon if you have, specific twin questions that you want her to address. But we're all there to answer. We really just have to ask questions at first. Are you exclusively nursing? Are you exclusively pumping? Are you doing either one of those in combination with formula? Are your babies in the NICU? Are your babies home with you? Are they premature? Are they latching? So we all know that there's some different things that would be the case with any one baby, but with one baby, you wouldn't have one in the NICU and one at home. With twins, that's a high likelihood. So we need to understand what the baby situation is, what the mom situation is, so we can then really start to address whatever the question is.
So if somebody called and they were talking about even something as, it sounds simple, but it may not be, like a cracked nipple. How do you feel that through a phone call?
Yeah, great question. So first to point out, it's not a phone call. We're only
sorry, texting.
Yeah,
so,
a written chat. Yes. So if a mom says, my nipples are cracked and bleeding and it hurts when my baby latches, we understand that typically a cracked or damaged nipple is going to be a sign of a poor latch. Not always, but sometimes moms will send us boob pictures and that's fine too. And we'll say, it might be that you need to work on latch, and we can dig deeper to find out, is latch poor because mom is engorged? Is latch poor because maybe baby's premature and can't get the mouth wide open. And then we can provide general latching tips and maybe see if there's anything else going on, like if mom is engorged and baby can't latch easily. But generally something like that, we'll then say it's really important that you work with an in-person lactation consultant, and we provide resources so moms can find somebody near them. Because it's almost like that initial step, but some things are just best addressed because we can't diagnose tongue or lip tie. We can't actually see if mom is engorged, and new moms might not know what that even means. So we can give, general latch tips and potential reasons why a mom might be having an issue, of breast pain or damaged nipples.
I think it's so amazing. Absolutely. Do you have like a checklist that you'll go down to me? So I don't know if you know this. I also finally passed my CLC. Not finally, I passed on my first try, thank goodness. Yeah. But I remember, going through the process of, coaching families. And to me, I don't know if I would be able to do that via text. You guys really have it down. So I think that your years of experience now doing this, because you're certainly no longer rookies as happy mamas, I'm just absolutely amazed that you can provide that kind of support. And I think where people underestimate you is they always assume that they need somebody in person. Not that they don't, but you could field it by calling you guys first and saying, hey, or not calling you guys. I keep saying that because to me, that's what I think of when you're having this communication. So communicating with you guys first and then seeing if you could solve a problem before you either start eating up your lactation visits at home that might be covered by your health insurance, or B, spending that money out of pocket to have the support that you may be able to get from you guys for free.
Well, and the reverse is also true, that some moms come to us for help and we say, hey, have you called your doctor? And they're like, oh, I haven't even thought of that. So sometimes it's that, you've got to take care of you. You have to call your doctor if something is wrong. And sometimes it's just us being able to say, we can't help you with that. That needs to go right to your doctor or the baby's pediatrician. And that might help just because it's not something that they thought of.
Okay. Now, here is another real-time question that literally just came in. So Amanda asked, I started breastfeeding my 12-week-old twins. So we got that. That's already, God bless you, Amanda. We've been there. Janelle and I have been there and done that. But it really has become so much easier to formula feed along with taking care of her 3-year-old. Yeah. So there's now second thing I would write down. My milk production is way down, probably about 5 ounces a day when pumped. Is there a way to get my supply back? When I was breastfeeding exclusively, I was pumping 12 ounces every time I pumped. I'm pretty bummed that I didn't keep up with it. So here's a very, very typical situation. And honestly, Janelle, I cannot imagine that this isn't a once a day question. I started out, on fire and I was doing it. And then I had, I got sidetracked by an older child. Is there a way that I could increase my production again?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack. First of all, congratulations on your 12-week-old twins. I feel like you're almost out of the weeds, like the deepest weeds. So what I'm hearing is your supply has decreased and you've added formula, which could be a reason that your supply has decreased. So I can talk about that. I can relate. My son was 2.5 when my twins were born. And so there's additional life that needs to be taken care of and you're nursing babies nonstop or feeding babies nonstop. So I guess I wonder if Amanda can respond, like, are you nursing them at all? And how often are you pumping would be my first two questions, because our bodies produce milk in response to demand. So if you're nursing your babies a couple times a day and the remaining 6 feeds are formula and you're just pumping once, well, then your body only thinks it needs to produce milk for that one pumping session. And if you're just pumping that one time, your body has no idea that you're pumping for twins, because a pump doesn't, determine twins versus singleton. So that one pumping session a day tells your body you only need to make enough milk for one session a day. And so your body's supply is going to decrease. So if you want to increase, then the opposite is true. You need to increase demand. So that's being attached to the pump more. And that's really hard when you have, an older singleton.
Or the baby's attached to you more.
Or the baby's attached to you more if breastfeeding is going well, if nursing at the breast. I mean, that for moms who are able to do that, I know it seems cumbersome, and it is with twins. It's cumbersome until they get better head control, and hopefully they do now. But then you're just dealing with less pump parts and bottles and having to pump and feed them at the same time. I mean, I'm just astounded when twin moms can nurse one, pump for the other, bottle feed at a different time. It's a lot of work. So if you're able to nurse, your babies are going to be more efficient than any pump at getting milk. If you're not able to nurse, or if you've chosen not to nurse and do a combination of pumping and formula, the best way to increase milk production is to increase your frequency of pumping. And even, I know there's some really great, my my girls are only 4, but in those 4 years, there are so many amazing pumps that were not on the market then. So the hands-free pumps, if you're playing a, puzzle with your older child and can, strap the pump on hands-free, cords-free, that might be a better option just to increase supply. And it's actually the frequency of expressing. So the frequency, the more times per day you can express, like by pumping, it's going to be better for increasing your supply compared to the length of time. So you don't need to be attached to the pump for 35 minutes, 8 times a day. If you can do 5 minutes, 6, 7, 8 times a day, that's actually going to help stimulate your body to say, oh, there's feeds that, there's demand for the milk.
It's honestly, this is probably one of the most common things. So our top 3 questions at Twiniversity is help breastfeeding in strollers. Hands down, since 2005. I mean, it has now been a hot minute that these are our most challenging questions. And to me, what I think is fascinating is that people assume that there's just going to be a drop in supply, that it's just going to be that. And they're not really looking at other factors like older children, like going back to work. And they're like, oh, it's just happening. So we really do recommend that, for you guys that may be watching this now that are expecting, I always say, and Janelle, I'm curious to see what kind of timeline you give somebody, but to really establish a good breastfeeding routine takes at least 6 weeks. And
6 weeks, that's exactly what I say. I say 6 weeks is it's like you cross a threshold and it just feels different. And I wish the doctors tell you that, but I'm telling you that it's at least 6 weeks. That's when babies get better head control. That's when they're less itty bitty newborns and more babies. And of course it depends if your baby was premature or has, health issues or is in the NICU, but at least 6 weeks. And we actually start to notice that a mom's supply might change at 6 weeks. So moms who are like, I have oversupply, I have forceful letdown, initially after birth, that's typically a result of just your body responding to postpartum hormones. Yeah. Then once you nurse your babies consistently for 4 to 6 weeks, your supply starts to regulate to meet your baby's needs. So some moms are like, I was pumping and nursing and had so much leftover milk, and now I'm just making enough to nurse my babies. That's very normal because your body is like, okay, I got 2 babies here and that's all I need to make milk for. So that usually happens around 6 weeks as well. So moms are dealing with less engorgement and, spraying their babies and things like that.
It's really an under-discussed issue. Oh, yeah. Super duper under-discussed, and especially when we throw in that bonus baby into our mix. Like I think about how, I know you have a singleton and I love that you can, totally speak on both fronts. But when I have, when we have friends that are expecting one and then they're having challenging times breastfeeding one, I just want to be like, can I just help you, please? Because I think we could really do this. With twins, there's so many things that come into play.
There's a lot of layers.
Yeah, that's 6 weeks. If you don't give it 6 weeks, then, and I'm not saying you have to give it 6 weeks, by the way, for you guys that are watching.
Changes things.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
That's not a scientific, that's not research backed. That's anecdotal, and it's 6 weeks.
That's mine too. That's it. We're all only supposed to have evidence-based information.
Yes.
Well, a lot of the evidence, honestly, and I don't know if you found this, Janelle, but did you become a lactation counselor after your twins were born?
I did. And I am done having babies, but I wish I could do it again because I learned so much that no one ever told me that even nursing my singleton, it is a different beast with 1 additional baby. It is a different beast with 2 additional babies. And there are things that happened immediately after my babies were born that in hindsight, I'm like still trying to get over the mom guilt that it's like, that didn't need to happen. That,
No, not at all. One thing that I was very frustrated about, and so I kind of warn our Twiniversity families, is that the actual education given to lactation counselors is minimally about multiple birth. I think that maybe we had in the entire curriculum, maybe there was about 200 words in total about breastfeeding. And so the way that they handle it as far as educating, lactation counselors is that, it's just, 1 baby times 2, where Janelle and I could both tell you 1 plus 1 does not equal 2.
Especially if you're feeding them differently, especially if one's on the breast and one's in the bottle, or one's in the NICU and one's at home. it feels like more babies.
There's a lot, which is why I think that Happy Mama mentors are so critical, because you may have a lactation counselor that comes to your home and she leaves and she was a singleton parent, or maybe not even a parent at all, which is very possible. And there's still a little piece in the back of your mind that's saying, something's not sitting with me. Something's not sitting with me. It's, to me, that is one of the other super assets of the Happy Mama Mentor program, is that if I'm questioning something, I could double check with you guys and either get that same information validated or what I felt validated.
Right. Well, and so often, aside from the validation, you're meeting with a lactation consultant and they're like, latch looks great, baby's nursing great. And then they leave and you like can't replicate it. So just having the mentors on the other side to kind of talk you off the edge. A lot of that is just, you're doing great. Your supply sounds great. Your baby's gaining weight. It's just that reassurance that doesn't matter if we get moms who are, 2-3 kids in, and it's different every time.
It totally is. Great news. Literally the questions are coming in so fast. I'm having a little anxiety. Okay, you ready? So Emily, let's go to Hannah. Okay, we're going to go in order because we like to be fair to our family. So Hannah says, I'm finding it harder and harder to bottle feed our 3-month-old twin girls at the same time and really establish bonding. I'm finding myself bottle propping a lot. Any suggestions?
I mean, bottle propping is a thing. You do have to just be careful so there's not choking or too fast flow. But that sometimes those twinsy nursing pillows are amazing for getting babies fed. In terms of the bonding, though, I don't know if you're pumping and bottle feeding or formula and bottle feeding. Really, it doesn't matter. But if there's an opportunity to just switch off. I mean, you're feeding them. I forget how old you said, 3 months. You're feeding them like 8+ times a day. So even just holding one to feed while you're propping the other and switching off, that can be helpful for bonding. If you are pumping, even just doing skin to skin, snuggling with one at a time or both at a time, just lying in bed to get the, milk hormone production stimulated can be really nice bonding. And just being with your baby, like even if you have them propped up, just being there with them, and not walking away and unloading the dishwasher, that's bonding. And don't let that take away from the fact that you're not feeding your babies and bonding with them appropriately. You are, and it's hard. And this is twin motherhood, right? Is like, we're divided now. So, finding ways to bond with one while the other one just has to kind of wait their turn and switching off. You might find that now that they have a little bit better head control, you could probably hold both and feed them both. So even just like once a day, if you can set yourself up, get like a ton of pillows, and snuggle with both with bottles, even just right next to you, might make you feel a little better.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's another misconception. And I think that, dads have this too, that the only time to bond with your child is through feeding. Yeah. Well, it's probably, maybe one of the times a day that they're quiet. There's also bath time, and there is also bedtime, and there's reading time. And like Janelle said, like the regular chores in your home. But bonding is not only during a time where people eat. As a nice Italian girl, I would probably initially have disagreed with that statement. But as the kids get older, you'll see that it's not just meal times. There's going to be so many more opportunities. And for you already, by the way, what I'm seeing from that question is she's already feeling guilty. And those babies are already 3 months. I promise you that you will never be equal. Things will never be equal. You just try to be fair. Yeah. Just try to be fair.
And they're getting fed. They're getting fed. And, and they're 3 months in. So again, you're like just getting out of the weeds. So now that they're a little bit more real babies and a little bit older and a little bit better head control, and you're not worried of them like, flopping forward, then you might be able to just kind of snuggle with them on the couch and like wrap your arms around the bottles and you could do it.
Yep. 2 bouncy seats is also really good, or the table for 2, depending on your situation and your finances. Sometimes you could even get them secondhand at a consignment shop or a mom of twins clubs. So there's always a way. We have a million hacks at Twiniversity for tandem bottle feeding and tandem breastfeeding. And of course, hello, we're talking about this today. That's what our Happy Mama Mentor program is for. So you could always just call and specifically, get really into the details and be like, okay, this is what I do for morning and this is what I do for, for afternoon. But one thing that I want to just tell Hannah too is just try to swap off is what I would say. And then Janelle, this would be a very twin mommy thing is, whatever you did for the morning, try to just change it up for the afternoon. But ultimately, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And it sounds like she's flying solo too, which is so commendable that she's doing this all by herself. I don't think Hannah even realizes how extraordinary what she's doing right now is. She's just in it. She doesn't see it from outside where I'm like, Hannah, yes, you got this. It's really tough. Okay, so Hannah, if you have any follow-up questions, message us. Now I got another one from Emily. Emily is 32 weeks pregnant with monodi twins, and she's having her C-section tomorrow because of complications. The girls will be in the NICU for some time, and I'm looking for recommendations to make sure I get the most milk and quickly while they're in the NICU, and I'm unable to nurse them directly. Now, Janelle, did you have any experience with the NICU?
Yeah, I'm like getting emotional. I have Modi twins. We had complications. I made it to 36 weeks, so I can relate. And good luck. And I will be thinking about you. They'll be great. But so you already know that they're going to be in the NICU. They're going to be in good hands. Ideally, they're going to have you start pumping right away. And I imagine these are your first, so you haven't done this before, but you're going to get colostrum at first, and it's small amounts, and it should be small amounts because that's all your babies need at first. And it can take a couple days before your milk even comes in. But pumping consistently, as often as your babies are being fed, is going to, even if you're just getting drops at a time that they put in a syringe, which is probably what they'll do, that consistent pumping is really important so that when your milk comes in, it's, you're kind of already in that pattern, the hormones have been stimulated. And then again, you're going to be consistently pumping. You're having a C-section, so you'll be in the hospital for a few days. They typically have a hospital grade pump, which is nice, but I would also ask at the hospital how you can rent a hospital grade pump. It's a little bit more efficient than the ones that you get from your insurance. You can rent them by month, so you could rent them, until your babies come home from the hospital. But it's that consistency of pumping, including overnight. So even when you're home and the babies aren't, and it seems bonkers to wake up in the middle of the night when there's no one there, is important to, keep your breast milk supply up so that when your babies are home or when you're able to bring them to breast, your body's already doing the work and you just kind of get right into it. As soon as you're able to do skin to skin with your babies, that's going to help stimulate milk production, even if they're not able to latch and nurse for a couple of weeks. But also I would say the biggest thing is meet with the lactation consultant at least once, if not as many times as you're able to in the NICU, to get tips, to get guidance, to say, how do I do this when I'm home? How do I deal with transporting milk from home back to the NICU for my babies? I don't know how far away you live from the hospital. Some people are hours away from their hospital. So it's, you might not be getting there every day. So just getting that information before you leave the hospital and then ongoing, there's typically a lactation consultant, with the NICU. So working with her is going to be really helpful as well, but really just getting on that pump. And getting education. I remember the first time I used my pump, it was like, I couldn't read the directions. It was like working a robot that didn't work. It seems so obvious now, but when you're tired and just had surgery, it's a lot. So just getting someone to really help.
Totally. And not all pumps are created equal. You may have read the manual for the pump that you have at home, but the one that's in the hospital is going to be very different. Right. So what I would add to Janelle is that this totally sounds crazy, Emily, and just bear with me, is you may actually want to pack a spoon. Hear me out. So the thing is, when Janelle was talking about the colostrum, which is going to eventually come out. It's good. It's a switch that even gets flipped on before the babies are here. You've been making it for a while. You're really good at it. I can promise you. It might be a little bit, it may be a little bit more, but sometimes depending on how your C-section goes, they might not be so willing to just throw a pump at you. And I really would rather you not miss that window if it's something that's important to you. And now even one step more, Emily, you got to have a talk with your doctor and really let them know what your desires are as far as breastfeeding goes after delivery, because they may not even think about it because, there's a lot going on that I want to make sure that they hear you. I'm not saying that it's going to happen 100%, but if they're like, I remember for me in the NICU, so this is kind of where I was, Janelle, is this was a very similar situation. My babies were in the NICU for 31 days. And I remember after I came out of delivery, I was a little bit hell in the handbasket myself, where my babies were blissfully unaware. And I did not know how to hand express. I did not know it was a thing. So you could even YouTube a video on hand expression and have your partner come collect what you hand express and pull it into a syringe. You could pump right into a little spoon, just have your partner take it and then take it to the babies, in the NICU. But one of the best parts about the NICU, Janelle, and tell me if this is true, as a NICU mom, I loved all the hand holding. And I didn't realize how much I had until, I was home.
Yeah, I only had one in the NICU and she was out before we left. So we were very lucky with 36 weekers. But one of the things that in hindsight, I was thinking, why are they giving her, I nothing against any feeding practice, but they started giving her formula right off the bat just because she was in the NICU. And there I was upstairs nursing another baby. It was kind of like, there's no reason I can't be providing pumped milk for her at the same time. So yes, really understanding that, the doctors might have another plan just because you're having 32 weekers. And I hear this a lot from twin moms, that they were kind of just like, my doctor was saying that they were too little to nurse or they were too weak to nurse. And they weren't, they just never gave them the chance to nurse. And like, my milk hadn't come in. It's like, your milk doesn't come in for a couple days. So of course there wasn't enough milk on day 2. So yes, really, I agree. Being kind of understanding what you want to do, knowing that it's not always going to work out in your favor. But yes, being prepared. Hand expressing can be much more effective than the pump also. So our chat, we have great hand expressing videos, so does YouTube. And so yeah, learning how to do that, doing some breast massage to help get the milk moving along. It sounds like you've got less than 24 hours, so things are going to happen real fast for you. Might not have time to YouTube these things, but just getting somebody in your room as soon as possible to start expressing, knowing that your babies are going to be taken down to the NICU as soon as possible, it's going to set you up the most for success in that situation.
And people can call you while they're expecting, correct? So, Emily's question wouldn't be unusual. If somebody's expecting, they're still welcome to call you. Or
yes, we have,
I don't know,
like I said, we work with moms the first 1,000 days, and that's conception to, 2 years old. We've had moms talk to us from the hospital and they say, I delivered my baby yesterday. And we're like, did anyone come talk to you about nursing? And they say, no, not yet. And that happens in busy hospitals, or if the baby's born on a weekend and the lactation consultant's not there till Monday. So we're there 7 days a week, not overnight, during the day.
Are you ready for our next one?
Yeah.
All right. Leanne said, I started out tandem feeding, but my babies are not gaining weight. So my pediatrician said both babies need both breasts at each feeding. So do I tandem feed baby A on the left and baby B on the right, and then switch them during that nursing session? Or do I let them feed on the same side for the feeding and just switch them at the next feeding? Also, she has 3 older singletons. So just giving you the full picture. Leanne's got a full house. God bless those.
Did she say how old they are?
No, she didn't actually. So I'm going to go with, let's say I'm going to throw in an age. Let's see if she did. Nope. I was looking up to see if there was a follow-up. She did not say. So I am going to say, let's say they were 2 months old.
Okay. So the issue is they're not gaining weight. I'm going to assume she's exclusively breastfeeding them. My initial question is, are they really not gaining enough weight? We get a lot of times moms who are like, my doctor's concerned about the weight, and we punch in the numbers for a breastfed baby, which is different than a formula fed baby. Yep. And the weight gain calculation, it's more important that they're following their growth curve than gaining X number of pounds. Like small babies generally stay small, but as long as they're staying on track for their growth curve, that's more important. So that's question number 1. Are they really not gaining weight appropriately? Are they falling off their growth curve? If yes, then that is concerning.
I don't actually have a chart on me. like ironically today. I was going through some paperwork, but I was really surprised. Here it is. Look, no joke. Like literally, I had one here. It is very different. If you could you guys see that? Or the thing is there are some charts, I don't know if it's going to say, but you could see that it's standard growth and breastfed growth. So I don't know what chart your doctor is using, but you may want to Google it because it may give you a peace of mind as well.
Yeah, kellymom.com has a good like weight calculator for breastfed babies. If you just Google Kelly Mom weight gain in breastfed babies, you can type in how many weeks your babies are, what their weight is, and then if their weight gain per week is on track. Okay, so start there. Now let's assume your babies really aren't gaining an appropriate amount of weight. Your first example is what I would suggest, that you nurse baby A on the left and baby B on the right, and then when they come off the breast naturally, you burp them and you switch sides. Because they have individual sucking, so that they're, starting them over, yes, the milk has already been consumed by the sibling baby on the other breast, but that additional sucking from the other baby is going to stimulate the body and say, oh, there's more here. There's, another baby's asking for milk, and your body is going to produce more as a result. But you also should be switching sides. Whatever side your baby starts on should be opposite on the next feed. So if baby A starts on the left, and then when your babies are done nursing, you switch sides, and baby A finishes on the right.
Yes.
The next feed, baby A needs to be starting on the right. So every feed, no matter where they ended, every feed, they're switching which side they start on.
Unbelievable. Okay.
I
tell people, get a hairband. That's your bracelet. Yes. Baby B stands for your hairband, because to try to remember every single feeding is going to be pretty impossible. We also, on Twiniversity, we have a Twins daily log that you could print out. It's a PDF. And so if you're somebody who is more visual and you end up putting your hairband in your hair, you could actually write down on this chart that we will give you, you put it on your fridge, you fill it in, but it asks what feed, what position, what baby, and then you could always refer to the chart for the next feed. But it is really complicated. Now, Janelle, I do want to say, because you are so wonderful, there's a reason why you get to have this job as a Happy Mama mentor, and it is entirely because of the company Happy Family. So Happy Family, I want to talk just quickly about their lactation support bars. And it's one thing that kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. And if you look, they do, well, here, I'm just going to show you guys. So they make lactation support bars. I actually recommend that my expectant moms eat these because they're just a good bar. They're just a nice, rounded nutritional bar. And out of all of the things, I do love that Happy Family begins at the beginning. So they begin pre-birth with lactation bars, and then it goes all the way through some super, super delicious solids. Julie and I, before this, Janelle was privy to our conversation. We were talking about like our favorite foods. So Julie and I, we give samples of Happy Family in classes, and I absolutely love it's the blueberries, I think it's blueberry pear and oats is my number one. And Julie loves the apple guava. I have also taken the mango and topped it, put it on top of chicken one time, Janelle. I don't know if you've gotten very fancy with that. Yes, I like to literally take Happy Family foods and consume them as an adult, because everything that we have, like I try this stuff. Even when the babies were little, and I would make something, I'm not going to not try it. I'm always going to try it. And so I have to say, while some Happy Family foods are a little primal for my fancy palate, others just absolutely flavorly explosive. And I love them. And I love that I could get this excited over baby food, which is so dumbly weird as an adult. And my kids are so old now, but they've always created some really, really great nutritional products. So they literally, from their organic formula up through starting solids. And now they have their whole Happy Tot line, which includes little bars, which is great to put in your preschooler's, backpack. But what I think is absolutely exquisite is their commitment to organic food.
Yeah.
And it's not only, they don't really call it, well, they do call themselves organic, but it's kind of enlightened nutrition because it's taking into consideration the whole nutrition, not just like organic. Of course, they're organic products, but they compile such unbelievable combinations that create even more nutritional bang for your buck. And an example of that is kind of their Clearly Crafted. I don't know if you guys, it's a little blurry when I put it that close, but they Clearly Crafted. I really get to see what's in here, but this combines pears, mangoes, and spinach. Now, Janelle, as a nutritionist, right, and as a Happy Mama mentor, how do you feel about making sure that there's a variety of nutrients for your children throughout the day?
Oh, it's so important. And the best and simplest way to ensure your baby or yourself is getting a wide variety of nutrients is just to provide a wide variety of foods instead of, calculating how much vitamin A and vitamin K you're getting. It's just the more varied your diet, the more varied the nutrients are that you're getting.
Yeah.
So all these combinations of food are just other ways to get more variety into the baby's diet.
Now, another thing that I love about the Clearly Crafted, which this has been something that's always been, even when they were Happy Family, and I just like to read it because I couldn't remember the dates, but since 2018, they've been advocating for the inclusion of organic baby food in WIC programs.
Yeah.
That's the best. Because honestly, I can't believe, first of all, that it has to be an advocacy. It should just be a given. It really should. And Happy Family has, taken the charge, and they're now carried in 13 out of 17 WIC approved states, which that's such a big win, Janelle. You must be so proud to be affiliated with a company that not only provides such unbelievable community support, but is like, we got to do this. We got to make sure that the people who need this get not only the education, but getting the nutrition.
Right. Yep. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh. I remember that when I was talking to Helen about this 800 years ago, and this was something that was on the drawing board. I'm just so proud that it came to fruition, which was just really, really fantastic. So yeah, it's just great. If you guys don't know who Happy Family Brands are, you really do need to check them out. I know you're going to go anyway because of the Happy Mama mentors. You're going to go check them out. But by the way, I was right on with Leanne's twinnies. They were 2 months old. So the twin mom,
nicely done.
Intuition was really coming through. So there are more questions. And Janelle, if you have time, I might ask you to keep going. All right. So let's do one more. And then I kind of want to sum it up. So we got one from, let's see, we already had that. I'm looking for a different variety of age. Don't get mad at me, audience. So let's do Desiree. Desiree has babies that are 4 weeks old. Teeny tiny little tots. She's currently pumping and nursing and making just enough, but definitely worried about my supply for feeding twins. I'm currently nursing each twin separately 1 to 2 times per day and bottle feeding the other twin during that feeding, but finding the time to do so, plus all the pumping, is so tiring. Do you have a recommendation of what a good schedule would be for nursing, pumping, bottle feeding? Because it's just too new for her to figure out what a good schedule would be.
I wonder if she can answer really quickly, but why are you pumping? You're nursing and the pumping is tedious. So I'm just wondering why you're pumping. No judgment, just wondering why. And when you're pumping. So some twin moms will nurse one baby on one side while the pump is going on the other. So that still stimulates to the body, hey, there are 2 babies here. Some moms might nurse a baby one feed and then pump the next feed, which actually wouldn't signal to the body that there are 2 babies. So the pump is a tricky thing with twins because you have to be careful how you use it to make it not seem like your body is just making milk for one baby. Because when you have 2 babies on 2 breasts, your body responds to their individual sucking. When you have 2 phalanges on 2 breasts, your body doesn't. It's a different, stimulation. It's a machine. So did she answer if she replied why she's pumping?
Yeah, we didn't get it yet. But I'm going to answer for her. It's just too overwhelming. So one baby gives me the opportunity to have that time with just one baby. And then I have a partner who is able to bottle feed the other. I'm sorry
Yeah.
that I'm putting words in.
If that's the case, I would suggest, and this is for anyone who hasn't tried it yet, but tandem nursing is like God's gift to twin moms. It seems so overwhelming. At 4 weeks, I think you can do it. I think it was 4 weeks when I like hit my breaking point and my babies were cluster feeding, and I think I fed like 18 times in 24 hours. And I said, that's it. I'm feeding them at the same time from now on. And it's just a little bit tricky to set up. There's some awesome YouTube videos on how to do it. I would have like the twinsy around me and a boppy on either side and the stool and the blankets and the remote and the water. And you kind of, at 4 weeks, I think they're close to having a little bit better head control. So it might feel more comfortable, or do it on the floor. Yeah. You don't want them rolling off the couch. They won't. But if you can tandem nurse, that's going to save you the bottle feeding. That's going to save you from feeding two babies 2 different ways. And then pumping. I mean, you must be doing this literally nonstop, back to back.
That's a 24-hour day. So we did get word back. She's pumping to create a backup. So she wants to have a little backup stash. So she is additionally pumping. And she says it's easier sometimes to bottle feed than nurse because nursing takes so much longer.
Okay. So nursing tends to take, it could take like 20 to 40 minutes, which isn't a bad thing. Sometimes with bottle feedings, babies just guzzle the bottle back because they don't have to work at the bottle like they do at the breast. That's not always a good thing. So yes, it might take longer, but I guess if you factor in like washing the pump parts and doing the milk storage. Also, at just 4 weeks, I'm always hesitant to recommend pumping because depending on when you're doing it, it might not leave enough time for your breasts to really fill up to be available for the next feed. So if you're nursing your babies at noon and you're pumping at 1:30 and then they wake up early from a nap, because at 4 weeks, there's really no schedule, and they wake up from a nap at 2:30, your body hasn't had enough time to reproduce the milk. I mean, your body's never empty, but you haven't had enough time. And so then it's kind of this fear of like, oh, I'm not making enough milk, so I need to pump, and it's this ongoing spiral. If it's not crucial for you to have a stash right now, like if you're not going back to work immediately, I would lay off the pumping in between feeds. And if you're going to pump, only do it in place of a feed. So maybe you nurse your babies first thing in the morning, and then the next feed, it's going to be 2 to 3, like if they wake up at 6, you nurse them, then you have to assume, okay, around 8, they might wake up and be hungry again. So at 7:30, you get on the pump and you're pumping for their next feed, not in between. You're pumping so the bottles are ready to go. And sometimes you can get, a couple steps ahead. You're not just pumping for that exact feed. That can be really stressful. But if you're pumping in between at just 4 weeks, your body is, it might just not be producing enough, especially if 2 babies to feed.
I really try to discourage people from leaving the hour window.
Oh,
so
yeah.
If somebody, like honestly, like Desiree, if you want to create a stash, that's great. I hear you. But there is kind of like a little red siren that goes off in my mind too, because the more you ask, the more it'll make. The more you make, you might actually overmake.
And being bored.
There is, and now we have engorgement and we have mastitis. Like I totally hear you. So what I would strongly suggest as both my, all the hats that I wear, and I want to make sure that Janelle agrees with me, but if you're feeding at 1 o'clock, by 2 o'clock, that's it. It is time to regenerate. It's not only regenerate, you need to recover from that feed. Your breasts need to literally recover and refill. Like you just don't keep driving a car on empty. It's where are you going? So you got to stop, you got to pull over, you got to take a minute. It is really this kind of cross-country road trip that is breastfeeding. It is not a quick run to the grocery store. So you got to look at big picture, and for your breast health, it really is important that you allow it to do its job. And if you keep asking, I mean, Janelle, I don't know if you had this experience with breastfeeding your twins, but I was hospitalized twice just from breastfeeding issues. So personally, but unfortunately, nobody told me about this hour. And so I would stay, while my twins were in the NICU, I would stay attached to the pump for an extraordinary amount of time, never realizing that there was a cap of what it should be. And I should only do X amount. And, you know, if my babies are, you know, this old, I should be on a pump for this long. I did not have the lactation support at home. I had it in the hospital, but I'm always really cautious to remind people that establish your stash after your supply is established.
Yes.
You can't do two things at once. Let's first establish a supply, and then once that's good, it's going to be so freaking easy.
Right. And that's that 6-week marker also is a good time to start, you know, then you can add in a pumping session to build your stash for when you go back to work. But I know the issue is time. I mean, right now life is probably extremely cumbersome. It takes X amount of time to feed 2 babies, and then you burp, and then you change, and you're literally back there at 20 seconds later. So yes, a bottle feed might be quicker, but if you're also adding in the time to pump and to wash and to store and to this and that, it might be the same 45 minutes where they're on the breast. You don't have to wash anything. You can do 2 at once. So maybe that's why it's taking so long too, is you're doing like 40 minutes on one baby and then you put them aside and do 40 minutes on the other. That takes forever. Then you're doing back to back. So if you can get yourself set up, tandem nursing, it is amazing once you get the hang of it. Try it on a day or a weekend when you have your partner or family helping or a friend, someone who can hand you the babies and, you know, get into a groove with that. You might find that it really does save you time, and you're right almost at that point where things are going to get a little bit easier with them nursing. If they're already decent nursers, you can really build on that.
I think 4 weeks she's doing good. She was asking about positions, and in our book we actually have drawings of them. So they're in there because sometimes you just need a little bit more than, well, put them this way. But I genuinely love that we could call the Happy Mama Mentors, and, you know, you guys are there to answer all of our questions. Now, one thing I really do recommend to Twiniversity families, with no matter how you're feeding your babies, is to really make sure that you take a moment, at least 70 seconds a day. That's all. Let's be realistic, Janelle. We know how busy it is because clearly Desiree is telling us, look how busy her day is. So you guys have to remember that you need to take a minute every day. And what I love is that, once again, Happy Family is right there with us. And they started this whole campaign called Happiness Wins. Do you know about this? It is the sweetest. It is that moment of my day that if I need a moment of Zen, I could literally go over to the Happy Family Facebook page, and, or you could even look on any social platform with a hashtag happiness wins. And Happy Family really is trying to encourage all families to just take a moment. And, you know, if you're running late for a meeting and your kids decide to take, you know, some baby powder and make it, you know, snow in the bathroom, stop and realize what's happening before you yell about how filthy your bathroom just became and now you have to clean up all this powder. But take a minute and realize the joy that they're just kids, and kids experience happiness in such a unique way. And if you actually tag Happy Family Organics and you use the hashtag Happiness Wins Challenge, they will donate $1 every time this hashtag is used, up to $25,000 to the Spoon Foundation. I love it, man. I'm going to find happiness. I'm going to literally try to make that $25,000 just from my family alone, Janelle. That's it. That's it. Happiness Wins. It's going to be the twins and my dog. That's usually my happiness pictures, but it's just absolutely extraordinary that you get to be, you know, a Happy Mama mentor. And to me, I envy you of the position that you're in, that you get to be on the front line of walking people through all their issues. You know, unfortunately, we don't have like a live chat at Twiniversity. It's something that, you know, we only have like our Facebook Messenger, and we do have a team that mans all of these things. But the fact that you guys are just there, and no matter where you are, no matter economic, political background, geographic background, it does not matter. If you have an internet connection or if you have a cellular, you know, connection, you are good to go. So Janelle, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing what you do.
I'm so happy to help. Yeah. And congratulations to all the twin moms and the twin moms to be. I mean, it is a different level of hard, but it is like a double, triple, quadruple level of rewarding, and just anything you're doing is good, really. It's not easy.
Yeah, it is. It's not, but look, You have two twin mamas that are here right now with my ancient twins, going to be 15 in a few weeks. And I somehow not only managed to survive, I definitely thrived. And every single day, you know, I don't know. My kids are going through that hateful teenage time right now, Janelle. I look forward when everybody else experiences that. So I won't be giving one away just yet, although I have said you could go live with grandma
We've made it this far.
at once. Janelle, what's your favorite part about being a twin parent?
Oh my God, all of it. I just feel like the luckiest human on earth. But mine just turned 4 the other day, and they are just they're the sweetest humans. But watching them, I feel like I'm watching them on TV. Like it's like the Truman Show. Like I get to witness this very, very unique and special bond all by myself. Like I just get to watch this play out. And sometimes I'm like, hey, thanks for including me in your little duo. You know, it's magical. And it's for any singletons, you know, siblings you have, it is different and it is unique and it is incredible. And gosh, becoming a twin mom, if you can do that, you can literally do anything. If you can leave the house with 2 babies, you're good for the rest of your life. You can do anything.
It's great. Now, good news for you guys that are watching us right now. We have an unbelievable welcome baby gift set for you guys. So Julie's going to put in a link for your chance to win. So this prize time is off the hook. She's going to give you the link. You go in and enter after our live feed. Take your time. It'll be open for a little bit, but we don't want you to miss out on anything. And most importantly, you know, call the Happy Mama mentors. And if you literally want to speak to Janelle, I am sure, Janelle, could we ask for you?
You can, yes. And all the mentors will say when I'm on next and come back or leave us your email and she'll get back to you. But like I said, any of them are equipped to answer your questions. But if you want that specific, you know, I need someone who's been in this with me, then yes, I'm on several days a week, and I'm always happy to get back to a mom or, you know, invite you to come back on.
Are there other twin mom mentors?
Not right now. You never know though.
Okay, good. I really, really like that. Yeah. So just, you know, reach out to them on chat and it's going to be really great. We wish you the best of luck and we're going to give you the link right to the mentorship program. You just click through and you could get Janelle. So yes. So guys, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks again, Janelle, for joining us today. And thanks again to Happy Family Brands for not only really paying attention to enlightened nutrition, but for continuing this unbelievable community support that is your Happy Mama Mentor program.
Thank you.
All right, Janelle. So stay right there, Janelle. But for the rest of you guys, we'll see you later, alligators.
Bye.